Hey, it's Soul, and welcome back to Warcraft Weekly, the show that's... sorry, hold on. The cooldown's up. And I call this one the Thorum Jump. Oh, so good. Anyway, all right. Back to you guys while my character over there plummets to his death. If you could, hit the like button, subscribe, plus the bell thing, and relax. We're out here to just, chill, hang out, and vibe while I recap the week. And let's get started. Wrath of the Lich King Classic is reported to have a release date of September 26th. And then it didn't. The other day, the Classic WoW page updated to include the date, and then it disappeared, confirming that Wrath Classic, unfortunately, is cancelled. I'm sorry, guys, no more. They're skipping straight to Cataclysm, because that's what the people really want to see. Seriously though, if we assume that this date is real, here's what we've got to consider. On the week of August 9th, which is 3 resets from today, many TBC Classic realms are going to be mashed together in a bona fide server merge. Fresh realms are going to be part of the WotLK launch as well. So we've got to consider when the pre-patch is going to be with respect to 1, they're going to be people that want to play Death Knights, and 2, people on current realms are going to get access to Death Knights considerably faster than the fresh realms, which will have no economy, and everyone's going to be racing to have characters ready too. TBC Classic launched with only a 2-week pre-patch period, which was received with a mixed reaction. Some said it was too short with respect to leveling Blood Elves and that other race. Others said, why bother having a pre-patch period because we didn't have that opportunity before. And we learned just recently that Wintergrasp in Classic is unfortunately going to be a semi-instanced event that you queue up for at a certain time, sort of like the Battle of Nazjatar, and not a massive outdoor event like it once was. Draenei, that's what I was talking about. Anyway, according to a post from the team, it seems that this change is due to layering. Layering, like sharding or instancing or phasing or whatever, has been pretty essential to keeping WoW Classic stable early in its lifetime when tons of people are piling back to a limited number of realms and they want to check things out. Layering and Wintergrasp simply don't work well together. So instead of owning the territory after your faction wins, a buff is going to be placed on you if anyone on your faction wins Wintergrasp during this match period. Then you can enjoy the perks of owning the zone until the next match is available, which makes it sound like if there happens to be winners from both factions while these separate matches are going on, it's possible for everyone to own Wintergrasp at once, which is, it's kind of counterproductive, right? What's the point? Since this is an event that you sign up and wait to be let in for to avoid matches being too guided by the invisible hand, when Wintergrasp is available, the matchmaking system is going to be really lenient, and it will allow games to start with a very imbalanced makeup. For example, 40 Alliance to 10 Horde. And with that, they're going to be bringing back another new mechanic or system that was introduced to Wintergrasp late in its expansion's life cycle, and it's called Tenacity. Now, some of you might remember this as it's a thing where the smaller team gets super buffs and they basically become raid bosses. Now, I'd say more, but I didn't play much Wintergrasp myself after they introduced those changes. At the time, I was like, whoa, what the heck is this? It just didn't feel as fun. So this many years later, looking at this, I'm kind of a skeptic. For now, though, I want to get some of your thoughts on this and everything WoW Classic. Are you going to be playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Are you going to do Fresh Realms or not? And do you think that this whole thing with Wintergrasp and layering, is it just going to be a total mess no matter what the WoW team does? We're approaching the end of Season 3 of Shadowlands, and to celebrate, go out and level, suckers, because from now until Season 4 begins, which is another week, there's a 50% bonus experience boost in Modern WoW all the way up to level 60, meaning that last character of mine finally gets their time in the sun, you worthless alt. Hey! And as a preview, next week is a time walking week, so your level 50 plus alts may be able to yeet their way to max level in no time, or 50% less time, whatever. The highlights of the week though, Alpha. I covered the progression updates pretty extensively throughout the week, so I'm not going to go into too many details here, but just to say that so far, I'm very impressed by the WoW team creating a sort of scheme that hits the very, very high bar of being better than Shadowlands professions. Wow. There are a ton of items to make that are bound to make decent money for pretty much every profession. There's fun toys, engineers can call an airstrike. I probably should have let off with that. And the specialization is deep, with hundreds of spec points to make you, crafter, a cut above the rest. This feels like it could be a pretty cool thing on your server, but also, if you happen to know the right person, you can send them a crafting order directly anywhere to your region or vice versa. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna declare it right now. Here we go. I dedicate myself to becoming the shield hero of the US region. I will endeavor to help you become the bulwark of Azeroth. So, come Dragonflight, call upon me. Okay, that's not right. Send me your crafting order, and I shall make you the finest of shields, and no tips required if you have all the materials. Yeah, no tips, just your gratitude. On the 2 dungeons that were made available, I've heard mixed reviews, but I don't have anything to say about it myself. Like, I'm a weird one, alright, I confess. Even as a content creator, I draw the line at dungeon and raid testings, because I want to learn fights with my team. I want to paint the ground with our blood and bodies and let each wipe teach a valuable lesson like, dude, don't jump around like that. You're going to body pull. Go on, we're doing it. Come on, let's go. The Dracthyr starting experience was also testable, but I don't do spoilers. So what's the point of this video, you're wondering? You know what, me too. But I will say a few things. At the end of the starting experience, you are shoved into doing a sort of tour of your capital city, either Orgrimmar or Stormwind. And when I was kind of put through this, I'm thinking to myself, why? Because remember, the Dracthyr are hero classes. They need to be unlocked, right? Even a new player would have to complete the Battle for Azeroth experience once to play as an evoker Dracthyr person later. So I don't see a need to be given a tour of the city, even if there might be like an RP skip, which at the time I didn't happen to find. But here's a what if though. Like, what if Dragonflight might become the next default expansion that new players are forced to run? I mean, there's a lot of questions on how that would work, but those are questions for another day. Anyway, what also caught my attention was that at the very end of this starting experience, pretty much the last quest in the intro quest line, you finally get to choose your visage form. Right. According to a quote, which could of course change in the next few months, a visage is an expression of how you wish to be seen by others. It is a personal choice you alone can make. Oh man, this quote, this is bold, this is progressive, and it's totally not true. It's still just 2 body types, guys. It's too easy to dunk on whoever wrote this to be, like a little bit out of touch. However, let's consider a few things. I'm being careful about spoilers here, but I think you'll be pretty safe. So the Dracthyr starting experience takes place on the Forbidden Reach. It's a place that, like the rest of the Dragon Isles, was isolated from pretty much everyone. When the Dracthyr enter places like Orgrimmar or Stormwind, it's pretty much their first time seeing most, or I guess all of these races. So when told that they have a choice of what visage to take, I imagine it to feel like they're being put on the spot, right? It's like if we, in real life, walked into a room full of, all these different kinds of outfits of all sorts of shapes and sizes and colors, and we're told to take for free a full-on outfit, something to wear on like our day-to-day travels. And sure, there are going to be eccentrics who will be like, oh yeah, I want to like this look here. It is expressive, it is flamboyant, it represents me. Because don't get me wrong, I do want Dracthyr players to be able to choose tons of races to emulate. But for the sake of lore, in the Dracthyr's point of view, I guess, maybe they saw an Eltharion take humanoid form like once or twice. I mean, for what reason, I have no idea. What I'm just trying to say here is that oftentimes when given a choice, people have the tendency to make the safe one, and that might have been what happened here, at least from a lore standpoint. That said, there are a ton of races to choose from, but not too many. After all, among these, there are doubles, right? Gnomes are gnomes, Tauren are Tauren, that sort of thing, so we start shaving them down. Undead fans, somehow I don't think that Dracthyr want to take that form, but to be fair, they could take a fully skinned form and have that certain, that certain gait that the undead have that, well, make them who they are. I'd like to think that this line was written purely out of love for the Dracthyr, and someday, maybe in waves, maybe all at once, the Dracthyr will be able to take the form of numerous races, but for now, this is what we've got. And now let's go over some Dragonflight visuals, like some armor models found by the Lost Codex and displayed by Wowhead. 4 sets for the 4 armor types, all of them recolors from different tiers across WoW's history. Now let's not kid ourselves, alright? These are recolors, and you can call it recycled content, you can call it lazy, but I'm looking at this Fel-themed plate set, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, give it to me now. Some light speculation here. It could be an update for the Trial of Style, a fun event that could really use an updo. This could be also the first wave of more armor recolors and updates for all the classes, not just the armor types. Because if so, could we see a new season of the Mage Tower, which proudly presented recolored armor sets as rewards? Whatever the case, pure instinct tells me that I gotta have them no matter what. So there you have it. And more profession equipment has been discovered by the Wowhead team for all of us to see. Real quick, profession equipment is being introduced to Dragonflight as part of the big profession revamp to give bonuses that make you better at your profession, whether you're like forging a sword or you're mixing a potion, you're fishing or you're mining for stuff. You'll be able to equip 1 tool and 2 accessories, all of which are visible on your person while you're performing these activities. And from the looks of it, every profession will be able to make tools and accessories for their own and for other professions, so everyone's gonna make a little bit of money. It has a similar but not sort of vibe with Final Fantasy XIV, where you had to craft a complete set of gear for just crafting, but in this case, you only have a few slots to fill that are independent of your actual gear. So the days of raiding with your fishing pole by accident, it looks like that's gonna be a thing of the past. Now let's talk for a bit, or I'm going to talk for a little bit. I want to talk about the current state of the alpha and I guess the weather, the mood, like how are we feeling about this second public build of the expansion that's not even going to be out until December? Which makes it sound like super silly, right? So this is the second build, only so much of the expansion is playable. Tons of stuff is still broken. Only 7 of the 13 classes have talents available for testing. But I also think back to previous alphas and betas. I've been covering this game for a good while, and I distinctly remember how unplayable of a state that those expansions were in, how not put together they were, and that includes Legion, which sacrificed a big chunk of Warlords of Draenor for the sake of early production. This is the first time, or at least one of the few times, where I can see a roadmap of what zone content will be available and when. And what has been testable has been in a playable enough state that it's easy for folks like us to give feedback and get understanding of how these features and systems work. I think it's paying off because with that, developers are able to more quickly to respond to useful feedback from us instead of their usual, oh, you know what, it's not done, guys. Save your actual feedback for when our internal changes are on the alpha or some garbage like that. Now, of course, that does not guarantee that Dragonflight is going to be the GOAT of WoW expansions, but if nothing else, the way that they are handling communication and responsiveness at this stage of development deserves at least that much acknowledgement. The current state of the alpha is that it's alpha, but in its second week, what the WoW team has delivered has been really impressive. They've managed to make each week on alpha somehow feel pretty exciting, even with what? This week we got 2 dungeons, 1 class, -1 zone. I'm sure that the alpha testers who just got in this week, I'm sure they appreciated that. Now I confess I don't really pay much attention to other content creators. Outside of one of Taliesin's impressions on dragon riding the day the alpha launched, I don't really have a great read on how the louder side of the community feels. So I want to hear from you, whether you're testing or not. How are you feeling about this test cycle and all of this? And what have you heard? Because that helps too. Actually, okay, I heard that Mike from Preach Gaming is going to dive into the alpha and give some takes if he hasn't already. I'm not sure. So I guess speaking for me, I've been excited for this expansion since the alpha started. You might have noticed. I mean, you've definitely noticed seeing me flying around like an idiot and posting videos on this throughout pretty much the whole week. And I'm going to be doing more of that over the weekend. And the other small questions that I have, I guess, one, am I wrong? Did I drink too much of this Dragonflight Kool-Aid? And also, 2, I've been making a bunch of videos. I made a ton. And I just want to ask, am I going in the right direction here? Are there certain things that you want to see more of or hear more of? And I hope to hear from you about that. And that's the show. Next week, according to their roadmap, the first leveling zone in Dragonflight, the Waking Shores, is supposed to be available. With any luck, the momentum will keep up, and we'll get another few professions and class talents in testable states. Now, obviously, I want to talk about the Paladin, but part of me is thinking, maybe they should save the best for last. That way, it gets the most attention. Of course, that's counterbalanced by my impatience and the rage that is slowly building up inside. If funny enough, Gathering is high on my list of things that I want to know more about too. Like, we definitely know there's going to be accessories, but what about specializations? Like, is Gathering going to get extensive specs too? For now though, we're just gonna have to wait until next week, and so let's give thanks to the amazing folks on Twitch and Patreon for being super generous and helping out the channel. A big thanks to you, viewer, for making it to the end. Like I said, this week has been both super fun and super tiring with a video pretty much every day. I really do want to keep growing, and you can help. And all you gotta do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more coverage and commentary. So I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.